Welcome back to our peaceful journey through the solar system. Tonight, we continue with part 2 of our adventure. In this chapter, we will leave behind the quiet blue world of Uranus, cross the endless darkness of deep space, and make our way toward the distant planet Neptune. Along the way, we will explore the mysterious moon Triton before reaching the frozen frontier known as the Kuiper Belt. But before we continue, lean back and make yourself comfortable. Take a slow, deep breath in. Then gently breathe out. Allow the weight of the day to slowly drift away. Because tonight, together, we will gently drift into the quiet and peaceful embrace of the universe. Now, our journey continues. The pale blue world of Uranus slowly begins to fade behind you. The pale blue world of Uranus slowly begins to fade behind you. Its tilted shape grows smaller with every passing moment, until it becomes nothing more than a tiny point of light surrounded by an endless sea of darkness. There is no feeling of speed, no rushing wind, no vibration beneath your feet. Only the quiet certainty that you are moving farther from the sun than any traveler in human history could ever experience. You allow yourself to relax once more. There is nothing to do, nothing to hurry toward. The journey itself has become your destination. Ahead of you stretches a region of space that feels almost untouched. The planets are now separated by distances so vast that they seem less like neighbors and more like isolated islands drifting through an infinite ocean. As you continue forward, the warmth of the sun becomes little more than a distant memory. It still shines with remarkable brightness, but from here it no longer dominates the sky. Instead, it resembles an unusually brilliant star resting quietly among countless others. Its light takes more than 4 hours to reach this part of the solar system. Even something as fast as sunlight needs extraordinary patience to cross these immense distances. You drift onward in complete silence. There are no clouds, no atmosphere, nothing to scatter the sunlight around you. The darkness of space remains perfectly black, interrupted only by distant stars that seem frozen in place. Without air, there is no sound. If a giant world suddenly appeared beside you, it would do so without the slightest whisper. The universe performs its greatest spectacles in absolute silence. Far below, invisible rivers of tiny icy particles continue their endless journeys around the sun. Most are far too small to see. Some are no larger than grains of dust. Others are ancient fragments left behind during the birth of the solar system more than 4.5 billion years ago. They have wandered these distant regions ever since, following paths shaped by gravity alone. You imagine crossing through this enormous emptiness. Millions of kilometers pass beneath you. Then millions more. Yet nothing changes. It is a strange kind of beauty. A place where silence itself feels almost alive. As your eyes slowly adjust to the darkness, you begin noticing more stars than ever before. Constellations you once recognized from Earth no longer look quite the same. The distances between you and those familiar patterns have changed ever so slightly. It is a gentle reminder that perspective shapes everything. Even the oldest maps of the night sky depend on where the observer stands. Somewhere far ahead, hidden within the darkness, another giant world continues its endless orbit around the sun. Unlike Uranus, this distant planet carries a deeper shade of blue. It circles the sun so slowly that a single year there lasts about 165 Earth years. Entire civilizations on Earth can rise and fall before Neptune completes just one journey around our star. For now, you cannot see it. The distance remains too great. But with every quiet moment, every peaceful kilometer, you move a little closer. Soon, a faint blue light will begin to emerge from the darkness, and another extraordinary world will welcome you into its silent embrace. For what feels like an eternity, nothing changes. The stars remain still. The darkness remains endless. The silence continues to surround you like a gentle blanket. Then, something catches your eye. At first, you wonder if it is simply another distant star. A tiny point of pale blue light appears far ahead. It is almost impossible to notice. Soft, faint, patient. With every passing hour, the little blue light grows ever so slightly brighter. Not quickly, not dramatically. Just enough for you to realize that you are no longer looking at a star. You are looking at a world. The eighth planet from the Sun. The final giant planet of our solar system. Neptune. Even from this incredible distance, its color is unmistakable. A rich, deep blue unlike anything you have seen before. From Earth, Neptune often appears as little more than a tiny blue dot through powerful telescopes. Yet from here, as you quietly approach, it slowly reveals its true presence. Day after day, the distant point becomes a small disk. Then the disk becomes a world. Its soft blue glow stands out beautifully against the endless blackness of space. You cannot yet see its clouds. You cannot see its storms. Those details remain hidden for now. But you already sense its quiet power. Neptune is nearly 4 times wider than Earth. Inside, more than 17 Earths could fit by mass. It is a giant built not from solid rock, but from enormous layers of ice, water, ammonia, and gas surrounding a small rocky core. It is a place unlike anything humanity has ever visited. As you continue your gentle approach, the sunlight becomes even weaker. Here, the sun shines with only a tiny fraction of the brightness you know on Earth. If you were standing on Neptune's cloud tops, midday would feel no brighter than a peaceful twilight back home. Yet even under such distant light, the planet seems to glow with quiet beauty. Its deep blue color almost appears to create its own light against the darkness. You continue drifting closer. Slowly, peacefully, patiently. And with every passing moment, Neptune becomes less like a distant destination, and more like the next chapter of your extraordinary journey. The distance between you and Neptune continues to shrink. Very slowly. Almost too slowly to notice. But in the silence of deep space, even the smallest changes become meaningful. The blue disk before you grows larger with every passing day. Its edges become sharper. Its colors become richer. The world that once looked like a tiny point of light is now unmistakably a giant planet. You continue drifting closer, carried gently through the darkness. As the sunlight touches Neptune's atmosphere, delicate patterns begin to emerge. Soft bands of blue stretch across the planet. Some are lighter. Others are darker. Each one marks enormous rivers of clouds moving through an atmosphere unlike any other. From this distance, everything appears calm, peaceful, almost perfectly still. But appearances can be wonderfully misleading. beneath those quiet blue clouds lies one of the most violent atmospheres in the entire solar system. Powerful winds race around the planet at astonishing speeds. Some exceed 2,000 kilometers per hour. Faster than the speed of sound in Neptune's cold upper atmosphere. No human has ever experienced such winds. And perhaps no one ever should. Yet from where you are now, there is no danger. Only beauty. You simply watch as the clouds slowly rotate beneath you, each movement taking hours to reveal itself. Patience is rewarded in places like this. The longer you observe, the more the planet begins to reveal its character. Neptune is often called an ice giant. Not because its surface is covered in frozen ice. In fact, it has no solid surface at all. Instead, beneath its thick atmosphere are immense layers of water, ammonia, and methane compressed under extraordinary pressure. Far below those layers, hidden forever from view, rests a small rocky core. No spacecraft has ever descended into Neptune's atmosphere. Everything we know comes from careful observation. And from one remarkable visitor that passed by many years ago. For now, those mysteries remain safely hidden beneath the endless blue clouds. You continue your quiet approach. Watching. Listening. Breathing slowly. Feeling as though the planet itself is inviting you to come just a little closer. Soon, its clouds will no longer appear as distant patterns. They will become landscapes stretching across an entire world. You continue drifting closer. The blue clouds now stretch from one horizon to another. There is no land waiting beneath them. No mountains. No oceans. Only an endless atmosphere reaching thousands of kilometers into the depths of the planet. It feels almost impossible to imagine. A world where there is nowhere to stand. Nowhere to rest your feet. Only layer after layer of clouds, slowly giving way to unimaginable pressure below. As you quietly circle above the atmosphere, subtle shapes begin to appear within the blue landscape. Some clouds are bright and delicate. Others cast faint shadows across the layers beneath them. Together, they create patterns that are constantly changing. Nothing here remains exactly the same for very long. Neptune is alive with motion. Even when everything appears calm. As your eyes wander across the planet, one feature slowly begins to draw your attention. Far below, a vast dark shape rests among the blue clouds. At first, it almost disappears into the surrounding atmosphere. But the closer you drift, the more clearly it reveals itself. An enormous storm. Large enough to swallow the entire Earth. Scientists call it the Great Dark Spot. It was first seen in 1989, when Voyager 2 became the first, and so far, the only, spacecraft to visit Neptune. The discovery surprised astronomers. Until then, no one expected to find such a massive storm so far from the warmth of the sun. Yet here it was. Spinning silently through one of the coldest places in the solar system. Unlike Jupiter's Great Red Spot, this storm is not permanent. It appears. It disappears. Then, years later, another dark storm may form somewhere else across the planet. Neptune is constantly changing. Its atmosphere never truly rests. You continue watching from above. The storm turns slowly beneath you. Clouds race around its edges at incredible speeds. Yet from your peaceful vantage point, The movement feels graceful, almost hypnotic. The entire planet seems to breathe in slow motion. A reminder that even the most powerful forces in the universe can appear beautifully calm from a distance. The longer you watch, the more the atmosphere begins to reveal its hidden rhythm. The clouds beneath you are never truly still. Some drift gently across the planet. Others race forward with astonishing speed. From this peaceful distance, their movement appears graceful, almost effortless. Yet appearances can be wonderfully deceptive. Neptune is home to the fastest winds ever discovered in our solar system. In some regions, they can exceed 2,000 kilometers per hour. That is faster than the speed of sound in Neptune's upper atmosphere. It is difficult to imagine such incredible power. A wind so strong that no aircraft built on Earth could ever fly against it. And yet, there is no sound, no roar, no thunder. Only the silent dance of clouds beneath the distant sunlight. You continue drifting above them, watching enormous storms unfold without making the slightest noise. It is one of the great contrasts of space. The more powerful the forces become, the quieter they often appear. As you look more closely, the clouds begin to separate into delicate layers. Some float high above the atmosphere, glowing softly beneath the distant sun. Others disappear into deeper shades of blue, where the pressure steadily increases. Far below, the atmosphere grows warmer, denser, more mysterious. The deeper you imagine traveling, the more extraordinary this world becomes. Unlike Earth, there is no clear boundary between sky and ground. The atmosphere simply continues downward, becoming thicker with every passing kilometer. Scientists believe that beneath these endless clouds lies an immense ocean unlike any found on Earth. Not an ocean of liquid water stretching beneath an open sky, but a vast layer where water, ammonia, and methane exist under pressures almost impossible to imagine. It is a place no human eyes have ever seen. A world hidden forever beneath Neptune's beautiful blue clouds. For now, you remain safely above them, floating peacefully through the silent sky, watching one of the most distant worlds in our solar system slowly reveal another of its remarkable secrets. You continue your slow journey around the planet. The deeper blue of Neptune fills more of your view with every passing moment. It is a color unlike any ocean on Earth. Deeper, colder, almost endless. You find yourself wondering what gives this distant world such a remarkable appearance. The answer lies high above the hidden depths below. Within Neptune's atmosphere, tiny amounts of methane quietly float among vast oceans of hydrogen and helium. When sunlight arrives after its long journey across the solar system, something beautiful begins to happen. The red colors within the sunlight are absorbed by the methane. The blue light continues its journey. It scatters gently through the upper atmosphere before reaching your eyes. That is why Neptune shines with such a rich blue color. It is not creating blue light of its own. It is simply allowing the blue light to remain. Even something as familiar as color becomes another quiet conversation between light and matter. You watch the sunlight spread softly across the clouds. The blue seems to change with every passing moment. Some regions appear almost turquoise. Others fade into deep sapphire before disappearing into shadow. No two parts of the atmosphere look exactly alike. The planet is constantly painting itself with light. Far above the cloud tops, the darkness of space remains perfectly black. There is no sunrise glowing across the horizon. No colorful sky stretching overhead. Only the brilliant blue world beneath you, and an endless universe surrounding it. For a few quiet moments, you simply observe. No words feel necessary. No explanations are needed. Some places ask to be understood. Others simply ask to be admired. Perhaps Neptune is one of those places. As you continue your peaceful orbit, you begin to appreciate something unexpected. Despite its incredible distance from the Sun, despite its freezing temperatures, despite the powerful storms hidden beneath its clouds, there is a remarkable elegance here. A quiet beauty that asks for nothing. It simply exists, patiently waiting for anyone willing to slow down long enough to notice it. As you continue your peaceful orbit, time seems to lose its meaning. Minutes pass without notice. The silence remains unchanged. The stars continue their patient watch over the distant reaches of the solar system. From here, it is easy to understand why Neptune moves so slowly around the Sun. The journey is almost unimaginably long. On Earth, a single year passes with the changing of 4 familiar seasons. Here, 1 year lasts 165 Earth years. By the time Neptune completes a single orbit around the Sun, generations of people have lived their entire lives. History itself comes and goes while this distant giant quietly continues its endless path through space. Yet despite that slow journey around the Sun, Neptune rotates surprisingly quickly. A single day here lasts only about 16 hours. The clouds beneath you never remain still for very long. As the planet turns, vast storms and brilliant blue cloud bands slowly disappear beyond the horizon. Then, many hours later, they quietly return once again. Watching the planet rotate feels strangely peaceful. There is no beginning, no ending. Only an endless rhythm that has continued for billions of years. Above the atmosphere, you drift effortlessly through the darkness. The Sun now appears incredibly small. It no longer fills the sky with warmth and light. Instead, it shines like a brilliant star, so distant that its light feels almost fragile. And yet, even from billions of kilometers away, that tiny point of light still guides every planet, every moon, every comet, every drifting fragment of ice and rock. Everything in this vast family continues its endless dance around that single distant star. You pause for a quiet moment, looking back toward the faint light of home. It is difficult to believe that somewhere near that tiny glow, Earth continues its endless cycle of mornings and evenings. Cities awaken. Children laugh. Oceans rise and fall with the tides. Life quietly carries on. While here, at the edge of the giant planets, only silence remains. And somehow, that silence feels wonderfully peaceful. As you continue your gentle journey around Neptune, another thought quietly finds its way into your mind. Even here, at the edge of the giant planets, Neptune is not alone. Small companions have followed this distant world for billions of years. Some are little more than irregular pieces of ancient rock and ice. Others are large enough to become fascinating worlds of their own. Most remain hidden from view. Their surfaces are too dark, Their distance is too great. But you know they are there, silently accompanying their blue giant through the endless darkness. Gravity has held this family together for longer than life has existed on Earth. Each moon follows its own quiet path. Each one tells a different story. Some were likely born beside Neptune billions of years ago. Others may have wandered through the outer solar system before being captured by the planet's powerful gravity. Every orbit is another chapter in a story that has been unfolding almost since the beginning of time. You allow your eyes to wander beyond the planet. The darkness no longer feels empty. It feels alive, filled with distant worlds waiting patiently to be discovered. Somewhere beyond the blue horizon, one moon stands apart from all the others. A frozen world unlike any other in the solar system. A moon that travels in the opposite direction from nearly every large moon ever discovered. Its journey is slow. Its story is extraordinary. And with every peaceful moment, you find yourself drifting gently toward it. Soon, the mysterious world of Triton will rise before you, inviting you to continue your quiet journey into the farthest reaches of the solar system. You leave Neptune's endless blue skies behind. The giant planet slowly drifts farther away with every passing moment. Its clouds continue their silent dance, even as they disappear into the darkness. Ahead, another destination quietly waits. It does not announce itself with brilliant colors. It does not shine brightly against the stars. Instead, it hides within the darkness, almost blending into the endless night. For a long while, you see nothing at all. Only the familiar silence of deep space. Then, a tiny silver light appears. At first, it seems no different from the countless stars surrounding it. But unlike the stars, this light slowly changes. It grows, ever so gently. With each passing hour, its shape becomes a little clearer. A small world is waiting for you. A world covered almost entirely in ice. A place where sunlight is so faint that even midday resembles the quiet glow of an evening on Earth. This is Triton, the largest moon of Neptune. From a distance, it appears calm, peaceful, almost untouched. Its frozen surface reflects what little sunlight reaches this distant part of the solar system. The result is a soft glow that seems to float quietly in the darkness. As you drift closer, its round shape becomes easier to recognize. Unlike many of the rocky moons you have visited before, Triton feels smooth, gentle. Its pale surface stretches endlessly beneath the silent sky. There are no forests, no rivers, no oceans. Only a frozen landscape that has remained almost unchanged for unimaginable lengths of time. Yet appearances can be wonderfully misleading. Beneath this quiet surface lies one of the most fascinating worlds in the entire solar system. A place where ice can behave like stone. Where frozen nitrogen slowly changes with the passing seasons. And where the coldest winds imaginable still carry stories waiting to be discovered. For now, you simply continue your peaceful approach, allowing Triton to reveal itself one quiet moment at a time. As you continue your gentle approach, something about Triton begins to feel different. At first, you cannot quite explain it. The moon appears calm. Its journey seems peaceful. Everything looks exactly as you would expect. Then, little by little, you begin to notice something unusual. The direction of its movement. Most of the large moons in our solar system travel around their planets in the same direction that their planets rotate. It is the natural rhythm of their birth. A quiet dance that has continued for billions of years. But Triton follows a different path. Instead of moving with Neptune's rotation, it travels against it. Slowly. Patiently. Almost as though it has chosen its own course through time. This unusual motion is known as a retrograde orbit. Among the large moons of our solar system, it is an extraordinary sight. Scientists believe Triton was never truly born beside Neptune. Long ago, far beyond the giant planets, it may have wandered freely through the outer solar system as an independent world. Perhaps it once belonged to the distant family of icy objects that drift beyond Neptune. Then, sometime in the distant past, everything changed. Neptune's powerful gravity captured the wandering moon. From that moment forward, its endless journey became forever tied to the blue giant. Even today, billions of years later, Triton still carries the memory of that remarkable encounter. You imagine the silent meeting between these two distant worlds. No collision. No explosion. Only gravity. Patiently reshaping two destinies into one. Out here, the universe rarely hurries. It changes slowly. Quietly. Over millions. And sometimes billions. Of years. As you continue drifting alongside Triton, it becomes clear that you are not simply visiting another moon. You are visiting a traveler. A world that once wandered alone through the darkness, before finding a new home at the edge of the solar system. The closer you drift toward Triton, the more details begin to emerge from its frozen landscape. What once appeared smooth from a distance slowly reveals subtle textures. Long fractures stretch across the icy plains. Dark markings weave gently across the surface like delicate brushstrokes left behind by time itself. Nothing here feels chaotic. Everything seems quiet. Ordered. Almost asleep. The sunlight is incredibly faint. Nearly 900 times weaker than the sunlight that warms the Earth. Even so, it is enough to awaken one of Triton's most remarkable secrets. Far below, thin layers of frozen nitrogen slowly absorb the distant sunlight. The warmth is almost impossible to notice. Yet over time, it is enough. Tiny pockets of gas begin to form beneath the frozen surface. Pressure quietly builds. Patiently waiting. Then, without warning, a narrow column of gas and dark dust rises high into the silent sky. No explosion. No thunder. Only a graceful plume climbing several kilometers above the frozen ground, before slowly falling back onto the surface once again. It is one of the rarest sights in the solar system. A world so unimaginably cold, yet still active, still changing, still alive in its own quiet way. When Voyager 2 flew past Triton in 1989, it witnessed these remarkable geysers for the very first time. Until then, no one imagined such activity could exist so far from the warmth of the sun. Even here, at the edge of the solar system, nature had found another way to surprise us. You continue watching from above. Another delicate plume rises in the distance. For a few quiet moments, it hangs against the blackness of space before gently disappearing. The surface grows still once more, as though nothing had happened at all. Triton returns to its peaceful silence, patiently waiting for the next whisper of sunlight to awaken it again. The gentle plume slowly fades into the darkness. Once again, silence settles across the frozen world. You continue drifting lower, moving only a short distance above Triton's icy surface. From here, the landscape feels endless. Wide frozen plains stretch toward every horizon. Their pale colors reflect the faint sunlight like freshly fallen snow beneath a winter sky. Yet this is no ordinary ice. The ground below is made from a remarkable mixture of frozen nitrogen, water ice, carbon dioxide, and methane. Materials that behave very differently in the extreme cold of the outer solar system. On Triton, temperatures fall to nearly -235 degrees Celsius. It is one of the coldest places ever explored by a spacecraft. Cold beyond anything experienced on Earth. Cold enough that even the air we breathe would freeze solid. Despite the silence surrounding you, this world has not been forgotten by time. Every crack across the surface, every frozen ridge, every smooth plain, tells the story of countless ages passing in perfect stillness. There are no waves to erase old landscapes, no rain to wear away the ice. The marks left behind millions of years ago can remain almost untouched for unimaginable lengths of time. You glide above a vast frozen plain where the surface shines with a soft silver glow. The horizon appears strangely close. Triton is much smaller than Earth's moon. Its gentle curve becomes visible even from this low altitude. Everything feels intimate, peaceful, as though the entire moon has invited you into its quiet solitude. Looking upward, Neptune hangs high above the sky, far larger than any moon would ever appear from Earth. Its deep blue color fills part of the heavens, watching silently over its distant companion. For a few quiet moments, nothing moves. Nothing changes. Only you, a frozen world beneath you, and the silent blue giant above. It is a view that no human eyes have ever witnessed. Yet here, in the stillness of your imagination, it feels wonderfully real. You take one last peaceful look across Triton's frozen horizon. Soon, your journey will carry you even farther from the warmth of the sun, toward a region where countless ancient worlds drift quietly through the darkness. The frontier known as the Kuiper Belt awaits. You remain above Triton for a few quiet moments longer. There is no need to hurry. Places like this are meant to be experienced slowly. You take one final look across the endless frozen plains. The delicate patterns carved into the ice. The faint traces left behind by distant geysers. The quiet landscape that has rested beneath the stars for billions of years. Everything seems perfectly still, as though time itself has chosen to slow down here. Far above the horizon, Neptune continues its endless journey. Its deep blue clouds turn silently in the darkness, watching over its largest moon, just as it has for ages beyond imagination. You begin to drift away, so gently that the movement is almost impossible to notice. The frozen surface slowly grows smaller beneath you. The silver plains fade into soft shades of white and blue. Soon, Triton becomes a peaceful sphere floating beside its giant companion. Then, it becomes little more than another distant light against the blackness of space. You realize how quickly even entire worlds can disappear into the vastness of the universe. Not because they are small, but because space itself is unimaginably large. Ahead of you, the darkness feels different. Less familiar. More mysterious. You have now traveled beyond the last giant planet of the solar system. Everything waiting beyond this point belongs to a quieter frontier. A place where sunlight grows weaker with every passing billion kilometers. A place filled with ancient worlds that have remained almost unchanged since the birth of the solar system. Some are no larger than mountains. Others are true dwarf planets, quietly following enormous paths around the distant sun. Very few have ever been visited. Many remain little more than tiny points of light through the most powerful telescopes. And countless others are still waiting to be discovered. You take a slow, peaceful breath. The stars surround you in every direction. Behind you, Neptune and Triton continue their endless dance together. Ahead, the quiet frontier of the Kuiper Belt slowly begins to welcome you. And your journey into the oldest reaches of our solar system continues. The distance between you and Neptune continues to grow. Slowly, the great blue planet becomes smaller with every passing hour. Its brilliant color begins to fade into the darkness, until it joins the countless lights scattered across the universe. For a long while, there is nothing ahead except silence. The stars remain unchanged. The darkness stretches endlessly in every direction. It almost feels as though you have left the familiar solar system behind. But appearances can be deceiving. This quiet region is far from empty. It is home to countless ancient worlds that have traveled through the darkness since the earliest days of our solar system. You continue drifting forward. Patiently. Peacefully. The sunlight has grown noticeably weaker. Here, even the smallest shadow feels deeper. The warmth of the sun is little more than a distant memory. Yet its gentle light still reaches this far, carrying a faint reminder of the star that gave birth to every world you have visited. As your eyes slowly adjust to the endless darkness, tiny points of light begin to appear ahead. At first, they seem no different from the countless stars surrounding them. But something feels different. These lights do not remain perfectly still. Almost too slowly to notice. They move. Each one follows its own silent path around the distant sun. Some are no larger than mountains. Others are hundreds of kilometers across. A few are even large enough for gravity to shape them into nearly perfect spheres. They are the quiet survivors of a time long before Earth was the world you know today. Frozen. Ancient. Almost untouched. You are approaching one of the oldest regions in our cosmic neighborhood. A place where the building blocks of planets have remained preserved for billions of years. The Kuiper Belt is beginning to reveal itself. Not as a crowded field of rocks, but as a vast frontier. A silent kingdom of ice, shadow, and unimaginable distance. And somewhere within this frozen wilderness, new stories are waiting to be discovered. You continue your peaceful journey through the frozen frontier. The farther you travel, the more the familiar solar system begins to fade behind you. The giant planets are now distant memories. Even Neptune has become little more than a tiny blue light resting among countless stars. Ahead, the Kuiper belt stretches across the darkness, not as a solid ring, but as an unimaginably vast region where ancient worlds quietly follow their endless paths around the distant sun. Every object here has its own story. Some have remained almost unchanged for more than 4.5 billion years. Long before the Earth had oceans. Long before life ever appeared. These frozen worlds were already silently circling our star. You drift among them without disturbing their peaceful journey. There is no sound. No movement except the slow dance of gravity. Only silence. And time. The farther you travel, the older the solar system begins to feel. It is as though every kilometer carries you backward through history, toward an age when the planets were still forming, when countless fragments of ice and rock slowly gathered together to build the worlds you have already visited. Some of those fragments never became planets. Instead, they remained here, waiting patiently in the quiet darkness. The Kuiper belt is more than the edge of the planetary family. It is a window into the earliest chapter of our solar system. A place where the past still quietly survives. You slow your journey for a moment, looking across the endless darkness before you. Somewhere ahead, hidden beyond the faint sunlight, a small frozen world continues its lonely orbit. A world that captured the imagination of millions of people for generations. A world that would one day change the way we define a planet. But tonight, its story can wait a little longer. For now, simply enjoy the silence. Enjoy the endless stars above you. And allow yourself to drift peacefully through one of the oldest places our solar system has to offer. When our journey continues, a remarkable little world will finally rise from the darkness. And together, we will meet Pluto. As our journey through the distant reaches of the solar system slowly comes to an end, there is no need to wait just yet. Because tonight, I'd like to invite you on a different kind of journey. The planet we have just left behind. The silent moons. And the frozen worlds of the outer solar system gradually begin to disappear into the darkness. But the universe reaches far beyond them. Now, we gently turn our attention away from the planets and toward the stars. There will be no more orbits to follow. No more worlds waiting for us to land upon. Instead, we will quietly visit some of the most beautiful stars that have illuminated the night sky for countless ages. Some are far older than the entire history of humanity. Others are so distant that the light reaching your eyes tonight began its journey long before the first civilizations appeared on Earth. Every star has its own story, its own color, and its own place in the vast universe. But tonight, there is nothing you need to remember. No names to memorize. No distances to keep in mind. Simply listen. Relax. And allow yourself to drift into the endless silence of the stars. Because our new journey begins now. Far ahead, a single star quietly catches your attention, while every other star in the sky slowly changes its position. This one seems almost perfectly still. For thousands of years, people have looked toward this gentle light to find their way. This is Polaris, the North Star. Like every other star, Polaris is also moving through space. But because it lies almost directly above Earth's northern axis, it appears to remain in the same place night after night. As you drift a little closer, its soft golden light gently surrounds you. Warm, peaceful, comforting. For centuries, sailors crossing vast oceans looked to Polaris for guidance. Travelers making their way across lonely deserts trusted its steady glow. Long before satellites, long before modern maps, Polaris quietly helped people find their direction. Tonight, it is not here to guide you anywhere. Instead, it gently reminds you how small, yet how wonderfully peaceful, you are within this enormous universe. You remain beside its quiet light for a little while. Then, without a sound, you continue your journey. The stars slowly begin to change once again. This time, one of them shines brighter than all the others. Its brilliant white light seems to cut effortlessly through the darkness. This star is called Sirius, the brightest star in Earth's night sky. For thousands of years, people across the world have admired its extraordinary brilliance. In ancient Egypt, the first appearance of Sirius before dawn signaled the coming floods of the Nile River. Elsewhere, people simply admired it as one of the most beautiful lights in the night sky. From here, it appears to be a single brilliant star. But Sirius is not alone. Quietly accompanying it is a much smaller, yet remarkably dense companion. Its name is Sirius B, a white dwarf, the tiny remaining core of a star that once shone much like our own Sun. These two stars have been slowly orbiting one another for millions of years, one shining with dazzling brilliance, the other carrying the quiet memory of a long and remarkable life. For a while, you simply watch them together, two stars, moving silently through the darkness, never rushing, never separating, their graceful cosmic dance continuing exactly as it has for millions of years. Eventually, the brilliant light of Sirius begins to fade behind you. Not because it grows dimmer, but because you continue your quiet journey through the endless sea of stars. The darkness between them is never truly empty. It is filled with silence, with unimaginable distances, and with light that has traveled farther than the human mind can easily imagine. As you drift onward, another gentle glow slowly appears ahead. It is softer than Sirius, calmer somehow. Its light carries a faint blue-white color, clear, steady, and peaceful. This is Vega, one of the brightest stars in Earth's night sky. For thousands of years, people have looked toward Vega during warm summer evenings. It forms part of a famous pattern known as the Summer Triangle, alongside two other brilliant stars that quietly share the northern sky. But Vega has another remarkable story. Long before Polaris became Earth's North Star, Vega once held that place. More than 12,000 years ago, if someone had stood beneath the night sky, it would have been Vega, not Polaris, that appeared almost motionless above the northern horizon. And thousands of years from now, As Earth continues its slow and graceful wobble, Vega will once again become the guiding star of the north. The universe is patient. It measures time differently than we do. For us, 12,000 years is almost beyond imagination. For the stars, it is only part of a quiet rhythm, repeated again and again across the ages. You continue drifting closer. Vega shines with nearly twice the temperature of our own sun. Its brilliant white light is born from tremendous energy, produced deep within its core. Yet from here, none of that immense power feels frightening. It simply appears peaceful, like a lantern quietly hanging in an endless night. Astronomers have long studied Vega. For many years, it served as one of the standard stars against which the brightness of countless others was measured. Almost like a trusted reference point. A familiar light in an ocean filled with unfamiliar ones. Somewhere around Vega, a vast ring of dust quietly circles the star. Within that distant disk, new worlds may one day take shape. Tiny grains of dust, slowly gathering together over millions of years, perhaps becoming rocks, then worlds, maybe even places where distant skies will one day be filled with unfamiliar constellations. You linger for another quiet moment, watching Vega shine with calm confidence. A reminder that even the brightest lights in the universe can feel gentle. Then, without a sound, you leave its peaceful glow behind, as countless more stars continue waiting in the darkness ahead. The stars slowly rearrange themselves around you. Vega's gentle light gradually becomes another beautiful memory. One more quiet beacon left behind in the endless darkness. Ahead, a warm glow begins to emerge. Unlike the cool white light of Vega, this star shines with a rich golden-orange color. Its light feels softer, older, as though it has been patiently waiting here for ages. This is Arcturus, one of the brightest stars visible from Earth. For countless generations, people have noticed its warm glow long before they understood what a star truly was. Ancient farmers watched for its arrival in the evening sky. To them, its appearance quietly marked the changing of the seasons. Long before clocks, long before calendars, the stars themselves became nature's calendar. And Arcturus was one of its faithful keepers. As you slowly approach, its gentle orange light grows brighter around you. Unlike our sun, Arcturus has already entered another chapter of its life. It has exhausted much of the hydrogen that once fueled its brilliant youth. Now, it has expanded into what astronomers call a red giant. Its outer layers have stretched far into space, making the star many times larger than the Sun. If Arcturus were placed where our Sun now shines, its enormous surface would extend far beyond the orbit of Mercury, and perhaps even approach the path of Venus. Yet despite its tremendous size, its light remains remarkably peaceful. There is no sound, no rushing flames, only a warm glow, quietly filling the darkness around you. The light reaching you now left Arcturus nearly 37 years ago. For the universe, that is almost no time at all. While you watch its quiet brilliance, The star itself continues its endless journey around the center of our galaxy. Along with our Sun and billions of other stars, Arcturus is slowly orbiting the Milky Way, completing a single journey that takes hundreds of millions of years. From this perspective, everything feels wonderfully unhurried. Time itself seems to lose its meaning. You simply float beside this ancient giant, wrapped in its warm amber light. For one peaceful moment, nothing asks for your attention. Nothing needs to be solved. Nothing needs to be remembered. There is only silence, and the quiet company of a star that has patiently shone for countless ages. Eventually, you offer Arcturus a silent farewell. Its warm golden light slowly fades behind you, as another remarkable star quietly waits somewhere farther ahead. The darkness welcomes you once again. Arcturus slowly fades behind you, its warm amber light becoming another quiet memory among countless stars. For a little while, there is only silence. No destination. No urgency. Only the peaceful sensation of drifting through an endless ocean of light. Then, far in the distance, a deep crimson glow begins to emerge. It is unlike anything you have seen so far. Not white, not golden, but a rich, warm shade of red that seems almost alive. This is Betelgeuse, one of the largest stars ever seen with the naked eye. High above Earth, it marks the shoulder of the great constellation Orion. Even from our planet, its gentle reddish color can often be recognized without the help of a telescope. As you drift closer, its extraordinary size slowly begins to reveal itself. The Sun, so familiar and comforting, suddenly feels remarkably small by comparison. Betelgeuse is a red supergiant, a star so immense that ordinary numbers struggle to describe it. If it were placed where our Sun now shines, its outer atmosphere could stretch beyond the orbit of Mars, and at times perhaps even farther as the star slowly expands and contracts during this late stage of its life. Trying to imagine a star of that size is almost impossible. The orbits of Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars would all lie deep within its enormous atmosphere. From here, Betelgeuse does not appear perfectly smooth. Its vast surface is constantly changing. Immense regions slowly brighten while others gently fade. Powerful currents of hot gas rise from deep within the star before gradually sinking again. Each movement unfolds so slowly that it can take months, or even years, to complete. It almost feels as though the entire star is breathing. Not with urgency, but with quiet patience. Its brightness also changes over time. Sometimes it shines a little more brightly. Sometimes it becomes slightly dimmer. For centuries, these gentle changes puzzled those who looked toward Orion during clear winter nights. Today, astronomers understand much more about this remarkable giant. Betelgeuse has already entered the final stages of its life. Deep inside its enormous core, much of the hydrogen that once powered its brilliant youth has already been consumed. One day, perhaps thousands of years from now, or perhaps much later, its long journey will come to an extraordinary conclusion. It will explode as a supernova. For a brief time, it may become bright enough to be seen even during daylight on Earth. But that distant future does not disturb the quiet moment you are sharing now. Tonight, Betelgeuse remains exactly as it has for generations. Calm, steady, patiently illuminating the darkness. you simply remain beside this ancient giant, surrounded by its warm crimson light. It is a quiet reminder that even the largest stars in the universe spend almost all of their lives not in dramatic endings, but in millions of years of peaceful, unwavering light. After a final, silent glance, you allow yourself to drift onward. The great red giant slowly disappears behind you, while countless other stars continue waiting beyond the darkness. As Betelgeuse slowly fades into the distance, the familiar outline of Orion still stretches across the darkness. For a moment, you simply admire the constellation as a whole. For thousands of years, people have imagined a mighty hunter standing among the stars. Different cultures saw different stories. Some imagined a warrior. Others saw a giant. Some saw only a collection of bright lights scattered across the sky. Yet the stars themselves have never changed their purpose. They simply continue shining. Quietly. Patiently. Your attention is soon drawn toward another brilliant light. Unlike the warm crimson glow you have just left behind, this star shines with a cool blue-white brilliance. Its light feels crisp, almost icy. This is Rigel, the brightest star in Orion. Although it appears close to Betelgeuse in Earth's night sky, the two stars are separated by enormous distances. From here, the contrast between them is striking. Betelgeuse glowed with the warm colors of an aging giant. Rigel radiates with the brilliant blue light of an extremely hot young supergiant. Its surface is more than twice as hot as the surface of our Sun. That intense heat gives Rigel its unmistakable color. A brilliant white touched with blue. Even from hundreds of light years away, its light easily reaches Earth. As you continue drifting closer, Rigel seems almost impossibly luminous. It shines tens of thousands of times more brightly than the Sun. If our own star suddenly possessed the same brightness, the familiar appearance of the solar system would change forever. But from this peaceful distance, its extraordinary power feels gentle. Like a quiet lighthouse shining across an endless cosmic sea. Rigel is not completely alone. Hidden within its brilliant glow are faint stellar companions, quietly bound together by gravity. From afar, they appear as a single point of light. Only with careful observation does their true nature slowly reveal itself. It is a quiet reminder that the universe often hides remarkable complexity beneath what first appears simple. You pause for a moment, letting the blue-white light surround you. There is something calming about its steady brilliance. No sudden movement. No sound. Only photons that have spent hundreds of years crossing space before finally reaching this peaceful moment. You wonder how many eyes have looked toward Rigel throughout history. Ancient sky watchers. Sailors crossing dark oceans. Children lying beneath clear winter skies. All of them seeing the same brilliant star. And now, you quietly join them. Not standing beneath the night sky, but drifting peacefully among the stars themselves. After one final look, you continue your journey. Rigel slowly becomes another distant light behind you, while the silent universe gently invites you onward toward another remarkable star. The stars slowly drift behind you once again. Orion, with its familiar shape, gradually becomes smaller until it blends into the countless lights scattered across the galaxy. Ahead, another warm glow begins to emerge. It is deep red, gentle, and unmistakably different from the cool brilliance of Rigel. This is Antares. the brightest star in the constellation Scorpius. For centuries, people have called it the heart of the Scorpion. Its steady crimson light has watched over warm summer nights for longer than anyone can remember. As you move closer, its color becomes even richer. Unlike many of the white and blue stars you have already visited, Antares glows with the soft warmth of a giant nearing the final chapters of its life. Like Betelgeuse, Antares is a red supergiant. It has expanded to an astonishing size over millions of years. If it replaced our Sun, its outer atmosphere would stretch far beyond the orbit of Mars. The familiar planets of the inner solar system would disappear inside the vast layers of this enormous star. Yet despite its immense scale, Antares feels remarkably peaceful. Its light spreads gently through the darkness without demanding attention. There is no violence here. Only patience. Only time. Deep within its core, extraordinary forces continue their silent work. Elements are forged under temperatures and pressures almost impossible to imagine. The iron in distant planets. The calcium within our bones. The oxygen we breathe. Many of the elements that make life possible were first created inside stars like this long ago. In a way, every living thing carries a small piece of ancient stars within it. It is a quiet thought. One that makes the universe feel just a little smaller. You remain beside Antares for a while, surrounded by its warm crimson glow. Its light has traveled for hundreds of years before reaching this moment. Long before today's cities existed. Long before countless generations were born. These very photons had already begun their journey across space. Only now have they quietly arrived. The universe never rushes. It moves with a patience measured not in days or years, but in ages. As you slowly leave Antares behind, its red light gently fades into the darkness. Ahead, countless more stars continue shining, each with its own story, each waiting with the same quiet patience that has filled the universe since the beginning. For a time, you simply continue drifting. The stars around you become countless points of quiet light. Some shine brightly. Others are so distant that they appear only as tiny sparks against the endless darkness. Then, something different begins to appear ahead. Not a single brilliant star, but a small gathering of many stars. From a distance, they almost seem like tiny diamonds scattered across a piece of dark velvet. Together, they form one of the most recognizable sights in Earth's night sky. This is the Pleiades, often known as the Seven Sisters. Unlike the stars you have visited before, the Pleiades are not one enormous giant. They are a family. A young open star cluster whose members were born from the same great cloud of gas and dust. For more than 100 million years, they have traveled through our galaxy together, bound not only by gravity, but by a shared beginning. As you slowly approach the cluster, the stars become easier to distinguish. Some glow with a brilliant blue-white light. Others appear softer. Each one follows its own path, yet together they continue their quiet journey across the Milky Way. From Earth, many people can see only 6 or 7 of these stars without a telescope. But hidden within the cluster are hundreds more. Faint companions quietly shining beyond the limits of human eyesight. For thousands of years, people around the world have looked toward this small group of stars and imagined stories. In ancient Greece, they became the Seven Sisters. In Japan, they are known as Subaru, a name that means to unite. Many cultures saw them as symbols of family, friendship, or guidance during the changing seasons. It is remarkable that one small cluster of distant stars could inspire so many different stories. Yet perhaps that is one of the universe's quiet gifts. It offers the same sky to everyone, while allowing every generation to discover something uniquely its own. You drift gently through the cluster. The young stars surround you with their cool blue light. Everything feels peaceful, hopeful, as though you are witnessing the beginning of countless future solar systems. Around many of these stars, disks of gas and dust once slowly circled in silence. Within clouds much like these, planets may already have formed. Others may still be waiting for their long journey to begin. Perhaps somewhere among these distant lights, worlds already exist beneath unfamiliar skies. Oceans may reflect the glow of stars unlike our own. Mountains may stand beneath constellations no human has ever imagined. Or perhaps these worlds remain silent, waiting patiently for whatever the distant future may bring. You take one last peaceful look at the young family of stars. Then, with quiet gratitude, you continue drifting into the endless universe, where every point of light carries another story waiting to be discovered. For a while, you simply continue drifting. There is nowhere you need to be. No destination waiting in the distance. No path that must be followed. The stars surround you in every direction, filling the darkness with countless quiet points of light. Some shine with remarkable brilliance. Others are so distant that they appear only as tiny sparks, almost impossible to separate from the blackness beyond. It is impossible to count them. And perhaps that is part of their beauty. Every one of those distant lights is a star. Many are larger than our sun. Many are smaller. Some are still young, shining with the energy of their earliest years. Others have already lived through ages beyond imagination. Each one follows its own quiet story. As you continue your peaceful journey, another thought slowly comes to mind. Our own sun, the familiar star that warms Earth every day, is simply one among hundreds of billions of stars inside the Milky Way. For so much of our lives, it feels unique. Yet from here, it quietly blends into an endless family of stars stretching across the galaxy. Somewhere around many of these distant suns, planets are almost certainly orbiting. Some may be frozen worlds, wrapped in endless ice. Others may be covered by vast oceans. Some may circle two stars instead of one, watching twin sunsets every evening beneath unfamiliar skies. There may be deserts unlike anything we have ever imagined. Mountains taller than any on Earth. Or quiet worlds where nothing has ever disturbed the silence. The universe offers endless possibilities. It never asks us to know every answer. Only to wonder. Only to look. And perhaps to appreciate how extraordinary it is that we are able to imagine these distant places at all. You continue drifting. The stars no longer feel like destinations. They simply become part of the silence surrounding you. Ahead, behind, above, below. There is only the quiet glow of countless suns sharing the same endless darkness. Time itself begins to feel different here. Minutes lose their meaning. Even centuries seem brief when measured against the lives of stars. The light surrounding you has traveled incredible distances. Some of it left its stars before the first cities were ever built on Earth. Some began its journey before written history even existed. Only now has it quietly reached this moment. There is something comforting about that thought. The universe has never been in a hurry. Every planet follows its orbit with quiet patience. Every star shines for millions or even billions of years before its story changes. Every galaxy slowly turns through space without making a sound. Nothing rushes. Nothing competes. Everything simply exists. You take one final look around. The Milky Way stretches across the darkness like a soft river of light. Its spiral arms hold hundreds of billions of stars. Somewhere within one of those distant arms, almost impossible to notice from here, is a small yellow star. Orbiting that star is a tiny blue world. That world is Earth. From this distance, it cannot be seen. It disappears completely among the countless lights of the galaxy. And yet, every story ever told, every ocean, every mountain, every forest, every dream, has existed upon that single, invisible world. The thought does not make Earth seem insignificant. Instead, it makes it feel wonderfully precious. You quietly carry that feeling with you as you continue drifting through the stars. There is nothing left to search for tonight. Not because the universe has come to an end, but because it never truly ends. Beyond every star waits another. Beyond every galaxy waits countless more. The journey could continue forever. For now, though, you simply allow yourself to rest. The silence around you feels warm, gentle, comforting. The stars ask nothing of you. They expect nothing. They simply continue shining, exactly as they have for billions of years. Their quiet light surrounds you from every direction. Your breathing grows slower. Your thoughts become lighter. The endless universe no longer feels vast or unfamiliar. It feels peaceful, like a place where every worry has quietly dissolved into the darkness. And as the ancient stars continue their silent journey across the cosmos, you allow yourself to drift a little farther, a little deeper, until the universe itself slowly fades into a calm and restful dream. There is nowhere left to travel tonight. No more stars waiting to be discovered. No more worlds waiting beyond the darkness. The universe has already shared enough of its quiet wonders for one peaceful night. You have wandered among distant planets. You have crossed the frozen edge of the solar system. You have drifted beneath the gentle light of ancient stars. And now, there is nothing more you need to do. The stars will continue shining without you. The planets will continue their endless journeys around their distant suns. The galaxies will continue turning through the universe with the same quiet patience they have always known. Nothing depends on you at this moment. Nothing needs your attention. Nothing asks you to stay awake. You simply allow yourself to rest. As you breathe slowly, the universe seems to breathe with you. Every quiet moment feels a little softer. Every thought becomes a little lighter. The darkness no longer feels empty. It feels comforting, peaceful, like a gentle blanket stretching across the endless sky. Somewhere, far beyond anything you can see, new stars are quietly being born. Elsewhere, ancient stars are gently reaching the final chapters of their long lives. And between those beginnings and endings, the universe remains exactly as it has always been. Silent, patient, beautiful. Long after tonight, long after this journey has become a distant memory, the stars will still be here. Polaris will continue watching over the northern sky. Sirius will continue filling winter nights with its brilliant light. Vega will quietly wait for future ages when it once again becomes the North Star. Betelgeuse will continue glowing softly in Orion. Rigel will shine with its brilliant blue-white light. Antares will warm the summer sky. And the Seven Sisters will continue traveling together across our galaxy. Their stories do not end tonight. Neither does the universe. We have simply reached a peaceful place to pause. Perhaps one evening, when the night is quiet once again, our journey will continue. Until then, you can simply let go. Allow every distant star to become a quiet point of light behind your closed eyes. Allow every thought to drift away into the darkness. Allow every breath to carry you a little deeper into rest. The universe will keep watch. It always has. It always will. Thank you for sharing this quiet journey among the stars. Wherever your dreams may carry you tonight, may they be gentle. May they be peaceful. And whenever you choose to look up again, the stars will still be there, quietly waiting. Good night.